after saving, you can see we have the text moved away. I still see it not to be too big enough for the left and right. So let me add 40. Okay, so I think 40 is cool. And then if you want the button to also be in the center, you can do that. You can make the button sit in the center, or if you want the button to stretch all the way to the end, you can also target the button to do that. But I want it to be in the center. Okay, so this is the section for the button. It means the button has its own container. Let's check it out. So I'll click here, click on the button, and then let me expand this a little. Why can't I? Okay. So this is the button. And the button, okay, the button and the other text are in one container, right? Which is a section. The section's header, and then so it means that we can center all of them in that section. The second child, the last child, we can make everything come in the center. So let me target this here. That's the last child section. I'll say display flex, and then I'll only use justify content to the center, not align items to the center, right? Only justify content to the center. So justify content to the center will do, yeah. So horizontally it has to do that, but then the last child is in this section. This section doesn't have any this thing on it. No. So the result I'm getting is not what I'm expecting. So let's work on it and ensure that they are all. So let's start them, because we are displaying flex on that container. Oh, okay. You see, we set it to display flex here. That is what caused it. Well, by default, flex goes in the horizontal direction. So let's say flex direction here to be column. Then all problems will be solved, right? We'll get everything in the center nicely, and then all problems will be solved. So the text and this are in the center. And then the button is also stretching to fill using the 1FR there was flex 1. But if you want it to have just be a normal button size and then be in the center, you need to set a width for the button, because currently we don't have a width for the button. That's why it's spanning from one end to the other. So when I come to section button and I say the button should have a width of, let's say, 150px, then that should solve the problem. It will cap the button to that size and then bring it to the center. My button is not wide enough. And why is it not in the center? Because I told everything to go to the center. So let us also, okay, we still need some more space. So let me do 300 and see. Okay, so I have my 300, but then okay, I have some margin on it. Okay, I have some margin on the button. So instead, where I have the 0 is because of the 0. If I take off the margin, that should be solved, right? But then it will stick itself to the top of the text. I wanted the gap from the top here. So instead of the 0, I'll say auto, so that it will do auto left and right. So now the button is in the center. Likewise, if you want, I think it's the same thing happening to the paragraph. So if you want the text to also be in the center, then you target the P also. So this is this, it's in the section and then the paragraph. We want to also make sure it has a margin top and bottom of 0, but left and right should be auto. And I think the text would also be centered. So the paragraph's text, let's say text align center. Okay, I think text align center should give that to us. Yes, so you can see that is giving us the text aligned to the center. So in a mobile view, that's what we want. And the top here too, we'll have to do the same for this paragraph. We'll do text align center for that, and then the button will also be aligned to the center. So please, I hope you are following with what I'm doing. We are trying to customize this, and then when we get to the down, you have to change this content here to your name. Okay, at copyright, then you put your name there, and then you put maybe designed by or something. So we'll say copyright, all rights reserved or something, and then designed by. So we'll take our name from there. So let me target, make sure if you have issues you address it to me, right? So the top here, I want to click that part, and that one is inside the home intro. There's a paragraph in that section. So let me go up here. This is the home intro. There's a paragraph inside it. So I'll say text align to the center. Okay, so it will align the text to the center. So now the text is in the center. This part. It's inside the home intro. So when you click on it, you can see the parent element, right? And the class you are using. And then you know the child is in there. So you go, you trace it out, and then you should be able to do that. And my heading and the text, you see my heading and the text is too close. So I can target only the heading, right? Because from here to the image is okay. So I can target only the H1 in that part, and then say margin bottom to, let me give it 10 px and see if that will be okay. So 10 px did not work. H1, let me be very sure the H1 in the, yeah, so that's it. It should work. We should have gotten that effect, but it did not. So let me increase it and see. Maybe the 10 is not enough. So increase to 20. It's not resolving. We have, oh okay, sorry. You see, we have a margin here that overrides that, right? So instead of saying this for that, let me take off this margin from the H1 and the paragraph. Let me take it off, and now that should work. But I think we can go back to the 10. If the 20 is okay for you, fine. We can go back to the 10. Yeah, so the space is okay. Because we are setting margin bottom, but we are also setting another margin which controls everything. And you know, when you use only the shorthand margin, it will give you the top, right, bottom, and left. so you won't be able to set, and that one is even below the top one. So it means by the time it's done with this, it comes to overwrite it with this one. So that's why it wasn't applying. So this is how you work. You sometimes inspect and make sure that something you have somewhere isn't overwriting another thing, right? So other than that, certain effects will not apply. Now then we are into the footer section. So let's go there. We'll click on inspect, come to the footer section, and then this is the inside the footer container. So let's look for the footer container. You scroll down, that's where we place the footer. I think we even give some comments on them. So classes, you see this is a small project, but you see how tall the file is. Yeah, so that's why sometimes you can also separate the CSS files based on the respective file themselves. So if I'm having a home.js component, I can create home.css file to match with the home component. So in that way, the CSS file will not be so big. Okay, at this place we have the container has this effect, which is for the footer, and then the footer has the first child has what? A display grid, and then the grid is divided into 4 parts. You can see that. So in the mobile view, let's see if we divide it into 2, it's okay. So we'll do 2 for mobile view. Let's check if it's still not okay. I think 2 is okay, right? From what I'm seeing, 2 is okay. If our screen size is 6, so let's go all the way down. Down. I think we can do 1 for now. Let's remove the repeat and do just 1 FR. In the mobile view, we are doing just 1 FR. So yeah, I think 1 FR is okay for the mobile view. Yeah. So then when we go to the bigger screens, especially tablets, we can do it 2. And then desktop, then you can go tablet, it can be 2 or 3. Then desktop, you will go 4. Okay, so now let's rectify. All of you rectify this test at the down. So you go back to your HTML page, and then where it says copyright, this part, look for that and change it with your name. If you have a company, you can use the company name. That test is long enough, but then I think let me do all rights reserved for Promas GH, and then put site by Hala Ajano. So I'll put my name there at the end. Now I'm okay, site by this. Okay, so now in the footer, that details I just place there. Let me collapse this for the meantime. So it's in the copyright section. That part is, I want to reduce the font size a little bit. So it's in the copyright. There's no need. I think it's still formatted okay. Well, because it's not, the that part is not huge enough. It's broke into it wrapped into a new line.